we're out here. This is the field where the magic happens.
Benning Bites with Damon Benning. Benning Bites with Damon Benning.
Another episode of Benning Bites. Fresh off a fantastic week of shows with my man Robbie Lula, ESPN 590, ESPN Tri-Cities, and everywhere, right? We stream. You can get us on Apple, Google, Twitch, Spotify. Really spirited week of conversations as Nebraska's open camp and a little NIL and 1890 talk. Other sports getting scholarship additions. I think early on, I was most excited about Nebraska getting the opportunity to offer 34 baseball scholarships, but then I'm thinking, shoot, will they? No, that's a good number. At least puts them on par, but 34 offers and yeses. That'd be very interesting to see that schedule managed. But I am excited at least about the opportunity. But conversely, I think some of the SEC baseball numbers up until this scholarship limit change was part of the reason we see roster limits in college football. So two things can be true at once. I'll be very, very curious to see how this plays out in the short term, at least for our first football fundraiser, at least outwardly. So this Saturday, an outdoor scrimmage, or not scrimmage, a practice, a nighttime practice at that. I think it's going to be pretty fantastic. I think there's two things I'm excited about. Number one, the willingness to say out loud, hey, listen, we need to create new revenue streams. This is a fundraiser. They have tried to really keep other things in the scope of being affordable. But this is what it is. So I hope people show up in droves and really help support student athletes and learn at the same time. Like, I think the more people that have a frame of reference for what we're talking about that sometimes we're privy to know or see and other people are not, it furthers the discussion. We're able to just have better discussions the more everybody's operating on the same playing field in terms of knowledge. So you can go back and say, hey, listen, when he's talking about the stations in practice or multiple groups going at once, or I like this group versus that group, or this is how fast we like to practice, or when we talk about transition and going from drill to drill, this is what. So all those things can kind of get some practical application. Quietly, I'm excited for that because I like to have more people to talk to, and I think it's interesting to see what people think after they can kind of formulate opinions off of seeing the same thing. I like the discussion. I think it can be useful, especially, if opportunities like this present themselves more often. It really helps the discussion, not only through media, but articles written, what happens when we see it play out on Saturdays, and we don't say things like, well, did they even practice that? Or however the conversation goes. I'm pretty excited for that. And the other thing is, for Nebraska, continually trying to stay ahead of the game, and it's difficult, right? I mean, it's an ever-changing landscape of college athletics, and sometimes it's easy when you stand pat or you sit still or you wait to have direction. People have a way of catching up with you and passing you by. We've kind of seen that historically with what's going on with strength and conditioning and some other people using blueprints while we didn't continue to stay progressive. And so I'm excited that Nebraska is trying to stay out in front, and the flexibility from collectives like 1890, because it's not easy. I mean, I thought about this for myself, right? The landscape of NIL and collectives is changing. We're waiting on rulings from judicial branches on how to move going forward. But you still have to do your job in the moment. And I think that's not always as easy as kind of we make it out to be. If how hard would I work at something if I knew it was going to potentially change in 3 weeks? Or how committed would I be to problem solving if I knew I was going to get another problem in the next month or so, right? I just use those as kind of loose examples to tell you what I think the unique challenges are for collectives, coaching staffs, and athletic departments to stay on your toes and continue to try to crank out good artwork. And we're not quite sure what the picture is going to look like. You just know you have to draw as well as you can while you can until you get the next assignment. Not always that easy. But one thing I'm really excited that Nebraska is willing to do. It's another episode of Benning Bites.